We're so happy for such a great turnout for International Women's Day. We're here to celebrate women who build, and we have a lot of women builders here, whether they've done it through Habitat, whether they do it through their business, or whether they just do it through their family, helping building the lives of their children, working in their community or their neighborhood. Women are builders. We have a wonderful program today, and I just want to make sure I don't miss making some introductions and some thank yous to begin with. First of all, I'd like to thank the host committee who helped with this event. And it's really started pretty much right after we did the event last year. And particularly our chairperson, Ann Walborn, who's sitting right over there at that table. Last year, she attended this event. I met her for the first time. She joined a committee. This year, she hosted the event and brought back 15 or 16 of her closest friends, and has really been a wonderful, wonderful support. Also, let me just list the people: Gern Freeman, Jill McGarry, Lauren Fuller, Victor Michelle, Crystal Frazier, Kirsten Riegel, and myself. And we also had, thank you, several folks who contributed so that we could help cover the costs of this event, because this is a fundraiser, and we thank them very much, and they're listed in your program. Our event sponsors were Blaylock Walters, who is our sponsor now for the third year of this event. Jill McGarry has been on our board of directors and chairs a marketing committee, and unfortunately she could not be with us today so that we could thank her, but we really thank Blaylock Walters. Also, The Grove is a sponsor of this event today, along with the Bradenton Herald and Manatee Air Heating and Cooling, a new sponsor. And thank you so much. Lisa Kelly over there in the back just called me and wanted to sponsor. I'd also like to introduce a couple of our public officials that we have with us today to celebrate this International Women's Day. We have Angel Colonizo, the first Manatee County Clerk of the Court. She's right here. She was also here last year. And Betsy Benak, Commissioner with Manatee County. And now I'd like to turn it over to Diana Shoemaker, our Executive Director that makes everything happen.
Oh, we're so excited to have you here with us today. This is a very special event for me in particular and for an organization. We're so happy to share it with you. I wanted to introduce, before I get started with my few words, is to introduce our board members that are here today. Gern Friedman, Kirsten Riegel is here as well, and Lauren Fuller is also here. Lauren, where are you? Lauren, where are you? Yes, thank you. I also would like my Habitat staff to please stand for a moment so we can applaud you and thank you for all that you do for this organization and for today. So, it's that amazing team of people that make things happen in this county. 4 years ago, Manatee Habitat sponsored a women's build, partnering with Anna Reyes, one of our homeowners that's here today. It was an amazing experience as we witnessed Anna's dedication, commitment, and positive spirit while she worked her 300 sweat equity hours to complete our homebuyer program. During that time, Anna talked a lot about her children and the goals she had for providing them with a stable future. The Women's Build seemed an ideal time to host an International Women's Day event to celebrate Anna's efforts and the impact of women on the Habitat mission and in our community. 40 women joined us for a luncheon in Palmetto, and we invited the director of the International Women's Film Festival, called Through Women's Eyes, to speak along with Anna. The response was great, and continuing to link Habitat to this day of celebration made sense. Now in its 4th year, we've grown to over 100 guests, with another wonderful speaker this year, and the opportunity to again recognize the achievements of one of our Habitat homeowners. International Women's Day is a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. The day also marks the call to action for accelerating gender parity. Our event today is part of a long legacy of gatherings, with the first International Women's Day gathering happening in 1911, supported by over 1 million people in Austria, Denmark, Germany, and Switzerland. Today, International Women's Day belongs to all groups, collectively, everywhere. At Habitat, we believe that enabling women and men to reach the goal of stable and secure housing for themselves and their families can go a long way to creating the foundation for personal growth and achievement. We are now in our 25th year, and with the help of hundreds of volunteers and community support, we've been able to build 131 Habitat homes purchased by hardworking families. Thank you. And I want to take this moment to make an important point that we always share at every event we do, which is that Habitat homes are not given away. They are, in fact, purchased and owned by the families that are Habitat homeowners. A very important point that sometimes gets missed, and we always like to raise that point with you all. But the work we do with families goes beyond the structure of a home. We understand that financial stability doesn't automatically happen because you've bought a home. We work with families to help them create a financial vision and give them access to tools to help them achieve those goals. And our work goes beyond Habitat homeowners and into the larger community. We work with homeowners and residents in neighborhoods to help facilitate the revitalization that they seek for their homes and their community. Right now, we're partnering with Samoset Neighborhood Association to implement a resident leadership training opportunity to help women and men strengthen their voices their voices for change in their own communities. Our outreach efforts also include working with children and teens as we educate them on the issues of affordable housing and invite them into civic engagement. Our efforts to positively impact families reaches beyond the boundaries of Manatee County with our International Tithe program. Habitat affiliates are encouraged to partner with sister Habitat affiliates throughout the world. Each time we build a home locally, Manatee Habitat shares a portion of its good fortune to help build a house outside the U.S. We are currently helping build homes in Guatemala and Haiti. This year, the theme for International Women's Day is Balance for Better. I think we can all agree that a balanced world is definitely a better one. This year's theme encourages us to celebrate women's achievements while challenging us to consider ways that we can work as individuals and as a community to help forge a more gender-balanced world. Our speakers today are women who have challenged themselves and challenged norms and assumptions. I have no doubt that both of these women have stories about women and men who have helped them achieve their goals by providing encouragement, mentoring, and sponsorship. These are essential characteristics for creating a balanced world that we seek. The Manatee Habitat model is a hand-up. The Manatee Habitat model of a hand-up embodies these characteristics. Every day, our staff and board and volunteers partner with families, neighborhoods, and the larger community to build strength, self-reliance, and stability because we believe that everyone should have access to decent housing and affordable housing. Today, we want to give you the opportunity to help us help others as we continue to provide encouragement, mentoring, and sponsorship through our women and youth initiatives. Your gifts today will help fund programs like our Resident Leadership Training Academy called Neighborhood Voices. Our youth education programs, including developing VBS curriculum, Vacation Bible School curriculum. And the final is the creation of a scholarship, a new scholarship, for women wanting to explore the construction field. My hope for us this International Women's Day is that each one of us will continue to find inspiration that challenges our current personal assumptions and that we find encouragement and support to rise above the obstacles to achieve our goals and make a positive impact. Thank you for joining Manatee Habitat today as we celebrate the amazing contribution of women and commit ourselves to continue the work of building a more balanced world for all. Thank you. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce our first speaker for the afternoon, Teresa Mast. Teresa is the president of the Davin Group, Inc., and here's what we have to hear about Teresa. Teresa was born in Hastings, Michigan, the middle of 5 children. She moved to Sarasota with her family in 1979 and graduated from Sarasota Christian School before earning her Bachelor of Arts degree in Business Management from Eckerd College. Mast formerly served as community outreach in the Sarasota County Neighborhood Services Department, collaborating with community while providing assistance to neighborhoods and businesses alike, before handling business relations in the Office of Business and Economic Development, for a combined total of 10 years. She is the proud owner of a female-owned construction company, celebrating 26 years in the business. She serves as chair of the Professional Women in Building and serves as Sarasota County's Planning Commissioner. And a few charities that she supports regularly are Habitat for Humanity, thank you, American Cancer Society, and Harvest House, to name a few. Mast and her husband of 34 years, John, who's here today as well, both reside in Sarasota. They have 2 daughters, both thriving in their respected fields, international business and pediatric physician. Teresa is a first-time grandmother to her grandson, Ethan. Welcome, Teresa.
So can we just say thank you again to everybody who put together this lovely lunch, and I would just like to say thank you very much. Now I have to put on my Nana glasses to see. I believe that life is an adventure, and I think that all of us that are sitting in this room today have our own unique adventure that we've been on. And from my perspective, my adventure started very early on in my life. When I was very little, I was extremely shy. My mother would say to me, "It's okay," and I would stand behind her skirt, and I can remember many a times when people would look at me, I would hide and kind of just feel really, really like shy. Those who know me find this very difficult to believe. And so I was literally held back from school a year because my mom said that it's okay, you'll find your path. And my mom always had a way of saying, you'll find your path. And she would use that terminology in a very calming and very gentle manner. And when I was little, I didn't think anything of it. My mom just turned 79 this week, so I'm glad to have her with us. She is a breast cancer survivor, so that's important to me as well. So a couple things that were like huge in making a difference in my life, and I'm going to give you some examples of kind of a journey that I've been on. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is because I think it's how it's created the person that you see today. For good, bad, ugly, indifferent, this is what you get. So when I was about 10 years old, I can remember that I was on my way to Good News Camp, and it was a big deal to me because I came from a very blue-collar home, middle of 5 children, like Diane said earlier, and the amenity or the opportunity to go to college or to go to anything that was outside of what I would call the norms was not kind of part of my family unit. It wasn't something that my parents could afford. They both worked very hard. My dad was a pastor. My mom cleaned houses and did whatever she could to provide for her family. And so when I found out that I got to go to summer camp, I was like out of my mind. And so I was super excited, and I didn't understand that going to camp meant that I couldn't come home at night. Like, I didn't get the whole picture, right? So I remember I went to camp, and once I got there, I had that oh crap moment, like, oh, what am I going to do without my mom and dad? But my mom assured me, and she said, find your path. And she proceeded to leave. And then I want you to know that summer I learned how to swim. I found my path. I learned how to swim. I learned that it was okay for me to say that I was afraid, like I was afraid of the water. And my swim coach said to me after he threw me in the water, it's going to be okay. But I remember that it's very vivid as a memory in my growth pattern, that it stuck out very high in a priority, because at that moment in my life, I felt like I could do anything. I mean, I was like, if I can conquer swimming, man, look out. Like, I'm on the loose. So that was really important. My family moved about every 2 to 3 years because of my dad being a pastor. That is not fun when you are a kid, because you just start to have friends and then you're like, whoops, it's time to move again. And so I can remember my mom would always say, you'll find your path. Now, sometimes that was really annoying to hear that. Like, really, I'm tired of finding my path. But what it really taught me was that I had to learn to have the confidence enough in myself to be able to walk into whatever it was, whatever grade I was in, whatever city we lived in, whatever town we were a part of. I had to find my path. And it really taught me to find a confidence deep within myself that I didn't know I had, but my mom knew. So we moved to Florida when I was 13 years old, and I was not a happy camper, because I was like, this is redonkulous. I don't want to be here. I miss all my friends. And then I found my path. I went to an amazing private school, Sarasota Christian School. It's my selfish plug for them. But I found my path there. And ironically, without even going to the same school, I found the love of my life. So I really found my path. So my high school sweetheart, who married me at 18, it was just an adventure that I did not know I was going to go on. And so when I said I do, I didn't realize how much I was going to grow from that point. Because you always think when you're young that you know everything and you got it all together. And so I assure you, I did not have it all together, nor did he. But we found our path together. So we started a company, 2 naive young people, and said, we can do this. Like, really, it's no big deal. And so it was like, we stepped out into the mucky water, I call it. We had no idea how deep it was, and believe me, there were many a times when we were way over our head. But I can remember we would look at each other and we were like, we got this. We got this. And I can remember throughout our walk together, there were many highs and many, many lows. So don't let anybody kid you when they say, once you make up your mind, it's all good. They're full of poo, okay? Clearly full of poo. So we welcomed our oldest daughter, who was like the love of our life. We were so delighted when we found out that we were having a child, and I cannot begin to tell you the joy that I have as being a mom. And those of you that are in the room know what I mean when I say that. There are no words to express it. After that, I experienced 5 miscarriages. There are no words that can express that. But I'm telling you, it was part of my path. And so, unfortunately, through the pain, you grow. Then our youngest daughter came along, and oh Lord, is she a whole handful, okay? Now, I'm telling you right now, every gray hair I have comes from that child, but I love her more than life itself. And I wouldn't do anything without her. At 25, after I had 2 of the most amazing daughters on the planet, I was diagnosed with a rare muscle disease, and I'm the youngest patient who's ever been diagnosed with it. Oh, yay for me, right? It's called polymyositis, and my doctor said to me, you have 6 months to live. Now, I want you to know, when my husband and I sat in that room, you have no idea the look that was on his face. And I think, honestly, excuse my language, it was an oh shit moment, because he was like, I have 2 small children, and I'm about to be a single father. There are a few words that could have been said, but only those that know me know that I looked at the doctor and I said, it will be a cold day and you know where before I do not walk my daughters down the aisle. And so I'm telling you, as a survivor of that, several years later, my doctor still jokes with me and says, you have no idea the amount of tenacity it took for you to say that, knowing what you were going to face. So that was just one of those moments, for those of you that know me, I was like, oh, do not tell me I cannot do something. I lost my mother-in-law to cancer when my children were very young. That was an extreme challenge. And the biggest challenge of my life is I lost my brother. That was hard. When you get a phone call in the middle of the night that says that someone has taken their own life, you have to really gather all the strength within you. I'm sorry, it's just, but it was part of my journey. It's part of my path. And so I swore that I would never take a day for granted. And I swore that I would make the best of what I was given. After that, I decided, well, I'm going to go back to school. So as an adult, I went back to college. I graduated top in my class. I got a 4-year degree in 2 years. Not that I'm an overachiever at all. And I was like, that's fine, I got this. I gave the valedictorian speech at my college graduation, which was one of the greatest honors for me. In the midst of all this, we had a horrific economic downturn. And for those of you that are in the building industry, you know that it means like our heart was ripped from us. I can remember there were about 4 years that we went through our entire savings. We made sure that all of our subs were paid. We made sure that we did everything we could to keep the doors open. Our entire retirement was gone, but we were determined we were not going to give in. Now, that may be stupid, but we did it. I also had the great, incredible opportunity of doing a campaign. I ran for Sarasota County School Board. It was an incredible experience. I lost by 1,600 votes, but who's counting, right? But I assure you, I will be back in some format when it comes to politics, just because I'm very passionate about it. I also have the incredible privilege of chairing Professional Women in Building, not only locally, but I serve on the National Association of Home Builders, Professional Women in Building, and I work on their Government Affairs Committee. I tell you all these things because I want you to know that when I say I've walked a path, I've walked a path. But everybody in this room has walked a path. Now, I'd like to say that I'm 29 years old, but that would be a fib. However, I'm celebrating the anniversary of my 29th birthday many, many times. But there's a couple things that I've learned along the way that I think have been very vital to who you see standing here today. The first thing that I would like to say is that when you are faced with those choices, you have a choice. You can choose to be very consumed by it, or you can choose to say, that was painful, but look out, you know? You've got to have the tenacity to be able to stand back up, get back up and say, I can do it. If you don't do it yourself, nobody will do it for you. And that was something that my sweet little 4'10" grandmother used to say to me, who had severe polio. She would say, put on your big girl panties and get it done. Well, I hear her voice in my head an awful lot. She always had really good advice. She was a little fighter. She was somebody who said, life is what you make it. And I believe very strongly in allowing those situations to help define you in a positive way. Now, we hear all the time about this glass ceiling for us that are women in the workplace. Let me give you a few statistics, and these are ones I'm super proud of. 60% of all the workforce in the United States right now is women. Yes, yes. What I would really like to challenge us as women to do is, how many of that 60% are CEOs or owners of company? It's only 10%. I'm sorry, that's not good enough for me. That is not good enough for me. And don't get me wrong, incredible. So many of my mentors are men, and I love them to death. But I got news for you, get out of the way, because I'm coming, you know what I mean? So what I'm saying is I think there needs to be a very collaborative effort for us as women and men in the workforce to work together so that we can all be successful. I think that we, as women, have very unique talents, very unique gifts, and I want us to be very proud of them. I want us to stand confidently and say, you know what, I've made some mistakes, I've stepped in a few holes, I've put my foot in my mouth. Oh, come on, it happens. I say that when those occurrences happen, just own them and say, you know what, I'm sorry. I may have said the wrong thing, I may have done the wrong thing, but if you give me another chance, I will not disappoint you. I think there was something that really meant a lot to me when my girls were in their teenage years, and both of them said to me, Mom, what do you do? Like, what do you do for a living? And you know how you get those conversations, you're like, well, this is going to be a fun conversation. So I said, I herd cats all day. And they're like, what? I go, no. I said, I get people to play nice in the same sandbox. That's what I do. And I'm proud of what I do. I am a female, majority-owned construction company, and believe me, when I say it is a male-dominated industry, oh, ladies, you have no idea. I have walked onto job sites and had men look at me and say, where's the real boss? I have had men look at me and say, well, we're glad you're here, honey, but when is the other guys showing up? I say, don't take it personal. I say, just look at them and go, you have no idea what you're about to get into, and then take them on a ride. I think that you need to be able to, with great grace and with great tenacity, say, I'm here to learn. If you have something you'd like to share or show, I'm happy to learn it. Never be too confident or too proud to say, today's a new day. I can learn something new every day. If I don't learn something new every day, I feel like I've wasted the day. I think what's really important for us as moms, women, daughters, aunts, cousins, whatever you are, nanas, I want us to be able to encourage one another. I've never seen more catfights than 3 women in one room. Like, I want to see us do a better job at building each other up. I want to see us do a better job at saying, you look phenomenal today. Thank you for your help. I really appreciate you as a person. And I think we need to do a better job at not being so insecure in ourselves to be able to identify that other people can look thinner, taller, more attractive, smarter, faster, slower, whatever it is, and accomplish that and be proud for them. I think it's really important that we as women are able to say to each other, I am super proud to be called a woman. Now, I'm not going to get into all this gender equality and nonsense today. I'm going to talk about women. I'm talking about the fact that I know that within my own skin, I'm finally comfortable. And if someone doesn't like what they see, it may hurt for a little while. Don't deny that. But for the most part, I'm going to be like, and my mom used to always say, 10 years from now, will this make a difference? I won't remember that person. Hold in high regard those that you value. Hold in high regard those that are honest with you. And I mean brutally honest with you. Sometimes it's awful, but I have a very dear friend who will look at me and go, you have taken on way too much. You need to step back and get in your seat and be still. And I have to respect that. And you have to have those people in your life that can encourage you. I say create a culture of success. I want people around me that are smarter than I am. And I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with acknowledging that they're smarter than I am. I'm okay with acknowledging that they have abilities, talents, treasures that I don't have. But I think together we can be an amazing team. I think what I really want to talk about too is we have a work ethic within our society that I'd really like to address. Now, I'm not going to pick on any generation because I think you have it in all generations. But I was always taught that when you show up, you give 150%, 8 days a week. And I think that that's something that we do not want to lose. I want to make sure that when someone is around me, they feel like I'm all there. I want when someone is working with me to feel like I'm fully vested, I'm fully committed. I don't want to feel like, wow, I'm dragging 10 people along with me. It's painful. But I think it's something that we have to be able to empower other people to feel that way. Find out what their successes are and encourage them. In a perfect world, what would your job look like? I know what mine would look like. I think the thing that really needs to remain important in order for us to continue to move forward is, I think in all of this, we need to be confidently humble. I think it's super important. I have the privilege of getting to do so many amazing things, but if those are what drives me and define me, then I think we lose our successes. So I want to just remain humble. I want somebody to pull me aside and say, okay, you're a little full of yourself. It's time to move on. You put your pants on the same way as everybody else does. I am super proud of the fact that I have two of the most amazing daughters on the planet. I don't care what anybody says. I know they are. And my daughters are very, very much my driving force. I think of the legacy that I will leave for my daughters. And on the days when I'm like, I'm tired, I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to do my 7 a.m. workout, I don't really want to eat the salad, all that stuff that you're like, oh, I want to keep my waistline, but I really would like to have a brownie, all those things. I think about my two daughters. And I'm telling you, it's so rewarding for me. Our oldest daughter is the one who gave us our grandchild, but let me just tell you, that's like a special treasure all of its own. But our youngest daughter, she's a doctor, and she called me the other day, and she said to me, she goes, Mom, I'm so tired. I put in 80 hours this week. And I said to her after a long pause, I said, sweetie, what difference did you make in the world this week? And she said to me, she said, Mom, I saved 3 children's lives. Man, I'm telling you, I'm like, what do you say? I'm like, holy buckets. I think the thing that is so important is that the legacy that we leave, when I get to the end of my life, I don't want to say, man, I wish I'd have tried that. Man, I wish I would have done that. I want to say, I did it all. And I jump over the cliff, and I had the parachute, and I landed safely. Now, my husband won't go with me because he's scared to death, but I'm going to do it. I think the other thing that I really want to remember is that my mom used to say to me, love what you do and do what you love. That is super important. I don't always love the minutia of every single day. I didn't love the minutia of changing diapers and cleaning up puke and all that fun stuff. But man, my daughters are my greatest treasure, next to my grandson. And I will tell you that if you get the privilege of doing your journey with your best friend like I do, then you're really blessed. The last thing that I want to say to you is, for everybody in this room, be generous. Be generous with your time. Be generous with your compliments. Be generous with your resources. And most of all, be generous in what it is that you give to yourself. Because if you're not healthy and you're not in a good place yourself, you can't give the best of you to everybody else. Now for me, that is a pedicure once a month. I'm just saying, right there. If it's long walks, if it's reading, meditating, yoga, dancing, singing, laughing, which you can never do enough of, by the way. You can never laugh enough. My motto is that you work hard and you play even harder. I have had the incredible privilege of being able to work hard for 26 years in the building industry, and I'm very proud of where my accomplishments have got me. I did not know where my path would take me when I first jumped into that water, nor did my husband and I know how many obstacles would be in the way. But you still take the journey. The last thing that I want to say to you guys is, if you are able to be as generous as you can be, whether it's with writing a check, giving of your time, complimenting others, celebrating with others, you will reap more than you sow. And I truly believe that. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you, Teresa. A real inspiration to us and a journey that we all can relate to, I think, the ups and downs of life. But thank you for sharing your particular journey with us. We appreciate it. Before I bring up our award winner, our Habitat Award winner, I want to recognize again all the Habitat homebuyers that are with us today. So if you are a Habitat current or future Habitat homeowner, would you please stand so we can acknowledge you? Yeah. Thank you. Becoming a Habitat homeowner is not an easy thing. It's a long journey and a lot of work. First, you need to qualify for the program with income and credit in pretty good shape. Then you need to commit to putting at least 300 hours of sweat equity into building your homes. You have to attend homeowner education classes and financial classes. And since most home buyers are working full-time, that means working at the job site on Saturdays. In addition, they are saving money into an escrow account for their taxes and insurance, and only when all of that's completed, when all of that's done, then they qualify for the loan from Manatee Habitat. And the work doesn't stop after the purchase of their home. They remain in the Habitat family for the remainder of that mortgage, and they are going to continue to strive to meet their financial goals and obligations to pay off that loan with Habitat. So it's a long-term relationship and that we have with our families. All of our families are important, and we celebrate all of them. We decided that International Women's Day would be a perfect opportunity to celebrate these achievements publicly with our Habitat Achievement Award. So this year, our recipient of the award is Yesenia Garcia Lorenzo. But before we bring her up, I want to invite the executive director of Suncoast, Step Up Suncoast, to give us a few words about Yesenia. Barb Patton.
Good afternoon. I'm Barbara Patton. I'm the CEO with Step Up Suncoast. And 6 years today, Step Up Suncoast became a better organization because 6 years ago today, Yesenia came to work with us. So congratulations on 6 years, Yesenia. Yesenia came on board as a receptionist in our very, very busy client services lobby. We're a nonprofit agency. We do a variety of programs, but where Yesenia was placed was really in the emergency assistance area, where we have clients coming in all day long that are in crisis, panicked, sometimes angry, and can be a handful. Well, we learned early on that we were really wasting Yesenia's many talents and organizational skills by having her serve in the role of receptionist. And over the years, Yesenia became a client services specialist, where she triages our emergency clients that come in. She steps in and can handle the duties of a caseworker to give direct services to clients. She is a team player beyond team player. We are a very large organization, and when we do something agency-wide that involves over 200 employees, Yesenia is the one that steps up to help organize it and make it special. She has a very special heart for her employment at Step Up Suncoast, and we so appreciate her every day. She also has a passion for helping others outside of Step Up Suncoast, and recently spent one of her 2 personal days driving a friend from her church to Miami to help navigate the very complicated process of immigration. That was a long day. She left very early in the morning and was back at work the next morning at 7:30. So she is really a very, very special person. Her organizational skills are beyond reproach, and we have all learned, don't mess with Yesenia's process. It works, and it works well, and don't get in her way. I think everyone that knows Yesenia will say three things about her. She is a goal setter, she is a go-getter, and she's an achiever. And her three children have had a front row seat to that very valuable lesson that she has taught them. She has become a U.S. citizen and worked hard to earn that. She has become a Habitat homeowner and has a brilliant career ahead of her at Step Up Suncoast. She is absolutely leadership and management material, and we will groom her to move forward in the agency. We also recently commissioned, as an agency, a documentary through METV that talks and tells the story about poverty in Manatee County. Yesenia volunteered to be part of that documentary and to tell her story on camera. And as a very special treat, we have a little snippet to show you of Yesenia's journey.
I am Yesenia Garcia, and this is my story. I don't remember a lot about my family in Mexico, but I do remember growing up poor. When I came into the United States with my family, I remember working as a migrant worker. We would travel to different states, back and forth migrating with the crop. I remember working through the summers from sunup to sundown, not only myself, but my sisters and my entire family. I remember going into the grocery stores and only being able to pick out just one box of cereal for all of us, because that's what our parents could afford. The harder times were when we were going to school and our parents didn't have enough money to buy us school supplies or school clothes. It was really hard during that time. When I was 17, I ended up getting pregnant, and then I had to tell, my parents that I was pregnant. My mom was very upset, and she ended up kicking me out the house. I didn't have anywhere to go. I ended up having to work 2-3 jobs. I worked anywhere from working in a kitchen to washing restrooms, cleaning, whatever it is that I needed to do to support my children. One day when my power was off and it had already been off, I was trying to manage it. I would pay my bill, and then suddenly the next bill came, and then they would disconnect my lights, so I was really struggling. I would hate to ask my family for money. I would sometimes just be so proud, and I said, it doesn't matter, I can find another job, but I'm gonna show myself and my parents that I don't have to depend on them. One of my dreams was to own my own home and also have stability for me and my children. Since we were moving back and forth in and out different houses, I wanted to have something that belonged to me and my children. I learned that you can survive and live a basic life by getting by, or you can be lifted up by available resources and live a better life for you and your children. An important part of my story is how a Habitat for Humanity house changed my life forever. I was able to get a home through Habitat for Humanity, and that provided stability for me and my children. I am still living in my home. I have about a year and a half living there, and it's one of the best things I can say that has happened to me. My kids have more stability. They're doing better in school. I'm more stable as well. and I'm able to do things around the home that give me peace. I am employed. I've been working for a nonprofit agency for 5 years now. I started as a receptionist, and now I'm client service specialist. I help people with different resources, utility assistance, just like one day somebody helped me. When times were bad and I had to rely on hope and hard work to get by, it was like what Dory says in the movie, Finding Nemo. I would think of Dory and say to myself, you are just out there swimming. Just keep swimming.
It's no surprise that Yesenia is our Habitat Achievement Award winner for this year. Congratulations, Yesenia.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I told myself I wasn't going to cry today, and everyone has made me cry today, from the guest speaker to the movie, my coworkers. Miss Barbara, what she said, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I can say thank you. I had a couple words, and I was like, I'm going to memorize it, and now I'm up here, and what can I say? Thank you for everybody that supports Habitat for Humanity in every aspect. I remember one day working, Habitat not only makes houses, builds houses, but they also help the community. We were working on an elderly lady's home, and we were painting and trimming the trees, and she was so grateful. She started making meatballs and brought it outside, and she was crying. I said, oh my God, what Habitat does, not only for families like me and my family, my children, it brings us stability, but it helps everybody in the community. I don't have any words to say. From everybody that helps with it, the volunteers, everybody makes a big part of it. And what best day to celebrate today, International Women's Day. I thank God, I thank my family, my Habitat for Humanity family, my Step Up Suncoast for Humanity, my Step Up Suncoast family, because everybody has been there for me, good times, bad times. And I just want to say thank you. God bless, and let's celebrate International Women's Day today. Amen.
And of course, Yesenia is here with her daughters, so they're here to celebrate this special day with her as well. So, yeah. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed celebrating with us today. And before we head out, I want to again thank our host committee for the lovely event that they've helped with today, and for our special chair, Ann Walton. I also want to thank our sponsors and our contributors and the Grove for a wonderful lunch. I hope you enjoyed your lunch as well and had a great time here. I want to thank our good friends METV, who has always been very supportive of Habitat and continues to tell our story in this community. Thank you, Charles. And of course, our wonderful speakers who have shared their story, inspirational stories for us. So thank you for being here today, all of you, to share your story. And I hope we all tell our stories a lot of times, over and over and over again. Before you leave, I want to let you know about a couple of exciting things that are happening at Habitat. If you haven't already, hopefully you'll visit our new Restore, which is located on the corner of 70th and 15th Street in the Onico Shopping Center. If you haven't been there, I think you'll be very impressed. We combined our two smaller stores into a large 33,000 square foot store, a brand new renovated with air conditioning. If you've been to other stores, that's important. So please stop by. In your program, be sure to take your program with you because there's an ad in there for the Restore, and at the bottom, if you haven't already seen it, there's a coupon there. So we want you to stop by our Restore, so please take that home. Also, I want you to keep an eye out for our new 16-home community that we are going to be building in the Samoset area called Poling Gardens. We're thrilled to be working alongside our partners at the county, and they have made this truly a partnership with us, and they're helping us to make this a reality, and we're grateful for their continued support. So thank you, Betsy. In addition to the 5 Habitat homes that we're building this year, we have funding from the City of Bradenton that has enabled us to help 20 more families with home preservation and critical home repairs to keep them safe and secure in their homes. So we're doing a lot in this community, and you're going to help us do that. If you are so inclined today, there are envelopes on your table to help support our efforts, specifically our women's initiatives. If you would prefer to support a home, that's fine too, but we're really focusing today, especially on our women's and youth initiatives. We'd love to have you be part of that journey with us as we continue to support women in the efforts around Habitat and their future goals that they set for themselves. Thank you for joining us to support Habitat. We literally could not do it without the generosity of our volunteers, our donors, and our sponsors. Thank you for the gift of your time and for your financial contributions to our work. We really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And before you go, I want to have Amy come up. She's got a special, she's like, I got to tell you one more thing about some of the upcoming events that you can also participate in. So thank you again for being here. Appreciate it.
All right. Also in your program, you'll find an ad for Restore Spaces. Restore Spaces is a really cool design team challenge event that we do, and then we have a reveal party. We have vignettes in the Restore, the wonderful new Restore now. Sharon Barhorst is here, who chairs the event. I caught her about putting lipstick on right there. She's right there, Sharon, with Welcome Mat Services, a wonderful volunteer. Somebody over here told me, Christine Ortiz said, I want to do a room, so we have to put the two of you together. And Christine Ortiz is the one responsible for those beautiful centerpieces on your table. Let's give her a big round of applause. They are fabulous, absolutely gorgeous. And, just claim it and put your money in the envelope and tell everybody at your table, I got it, because we're selling those for $25 each. After that, we have a golf tournament in October, and then we will be celebrating our 25th anniversary in November of this year at the Riverwalk with a really fun family day with activities, and we're looking for sponsors and activities and great ways we're going to recognize our whole 25 years of history with some fun and challenging challenges that we've met. How wonderful. Both of our speakers, wonderful to hear you and to celebrate this day. I said it a million times in emails, this is a very uplifting day, I think. There's a lot of challenges that women face, but when we come together, we can uplift ourselves and move forward. And now I'm going to cry. Those are tears of joy. But I just wanted to say I'm so thrilled with the turnout today, and that I hope that you will make a mental note for March 8th next year and think about coming back and joining us and bringing one friend, and we'll not have that wall there, and we'll fill this whole ballroom. Okay, can we do that? Yes, okay.